Hey there, welcome back to another video. This time around, it is my review of the 2008 teen comedy Wild Child. Now, before we get around to sharing more of my thoughts on this film, I would like to give a special shout out to Steven for requesting this review. And if there's another film, TV show, or topic that you would like to see me discuss in the future, feel free to donate to either my PayPal or to my Patreon. The link to both is in the video description down below, and I will try to get to your request as soon as I possibly can. Now, Wild Child is one of those films where I had really low expectations going in for this one. I saw the poster and I was like, ooh, that looks rough. Saw the reviews and I was like, ooh, this doesn't sound good. Then it's a teen comedy intended for teenage girls, and it was made in the 2000s. So it's a combination of potentially dated as well as not for me. So I really was kind of dreading this one, to be honest. But it was okay. Like, it's one of those movies where I think it would definitely play better for its intended audience. But as a 30-something guy, it's not completely unwatchable. It's not trash by any means. Honestly, I liken this to an average Disney Channel original movie. It's watchable. It's tolerable. It's ultimately pretty harmless fluff. It's, it's got its heart in the right place, but it's no masterpiece. It's not great. It's directed by Nick Moore, and I don't think his direction was so bad that the guy never deserved another chance to direct a film with a budget ever again. Because after this, he did nothing but direct-to-video movies. And one of them, I think, I don't even know if it had, like, it was just a very limited release. But yeah, basically direct-to-video releases. And then he just went back to editing movies, which is what I guess got him this job, because he edited a bunch of popular rom-coms and other movies. So Universal was like, all right, hey, you edited Notting Hill? All right, well, here you go. How about you direct this movie? And the direction's not bad. I don't think Nick Moore did a bad job at all. For this kind of film, I honestly thought it was kind of cool. Like, there's some shots during the lacrosse games that are really interesting and fun to look at in terms of the different perspectives. There's one that's like a POV of the lacrosse player. She's running down the field before she throws the ball into the net. And there were other moments where it just had some really good energy to it, even during some of the montages, the dance scenes. It's a film that has some efficiently wild direction, which is exactly what you need for this kind of movie. You need that sugar rush, candy fueled kind of directing, and I think the director did a good job capturing that. I really do. I think his direction is probably the most consistently good thing about the movie. I was really surprised by it. I was like, well, why is this guy not given more opportunities? Because he definitely knows how to nail the project. I mean, he was asked to make a bubbly, over the top, candy fueled teen comedy, and he passed that test with flying colors, but whatever reason, just didn't really turn into anything. Probably because the film didn't really do that well financially. Now, the screenplay is by Lucy Dahl, and just like the film's director, she didn't really go on to do a whole lot after this. In fact, she did even less than the director did. At least the director got to direct a couple films and kept on editing. She never wrote another feature film again after her script for this film, and I don't really get it. I don't think she did that bad of a job. I thought she did okay. It was fine. It wasn't amazing. It wasn't exemplary, but it was fine. It was a good first try. Her last name might sound familiar because her dad actually is the famous author Roald Dahl. So maybe she just didn't want to write anymore. Maybe it was just a conscious decision on her part. But I don't think it really had to do with her ability, because I don't think she showed that she was a poor writer or a bad enough writer to never write again. I mean, there are writers who've written multiple films as of late, like the writers of Morbius and Madam Web, who have done significantly worse and still get jobs. And she was at least competent here when it comes to the kind of film that this is. Was it chock full of cliches? Yes. Was it fairly predictable? Yes. But was it going to be anything else? I think for the kind of movie that this film is, which is a total predictable, been there, done that plot. You got a rich, spoiled girl who lives in Malibu and is bratty and gets sent to a boarding school, an all-girls school in the UK to teach her a lesson and get her on the straight and narrow. And of course, along the way, initially there's a lot of trepidation, there's resistance, but then she does make some real changes. She makes new friends along the way, as well as new enemies. Might even find some love. It's the typical kind of stuff. Throw in a sports subplot too, because we need something to fill the time. But it's not incompetent. Yeah, there's cliches, and yeah, there's predictable plot elements, but they're fine. They're written well enough. I think the dynamic between the characters is really strong, especially Poppy and the group of girls that she befriends, who she stays with at the school and really gets to know throughout the movie. I think Lucy did a really good job making those characters really feel real and their friendship genuine. I think there was also some genuine tension when it comes to Harriet and her group and the villains of the story. I think the whole plot involving Poppy trying to act out so much to the point where she gets expelled is fun. It really leads to a lot of fun pranks and genuinely the most unpredictable aspects of the script. And I think Lucy did a great job handling those. The romance subplot with Poppy and this boy who's the son of the headmistress, Miss Kingsley. It's not anything new, but it's charming. I think the two of them are written in ways where they have some real rapport with one another. And ultimately, you do want them to be a couple and stay together. So the drama that ensues where they break up briefly, it works because you do think that they're a good couple and you want them to be together. Is the stuff with Freddie kind of weird? Yeah. I mean, what is this teenage boy or this guy in his 20s doing? Just hanging out, spending time at his mom's school. Like, he doesn't have a job at the school. At least if he does, is not made clear. So it just seems like there's this guy who just hangs out at this girls' school. But why? I guess maybe he's trying to pick up some chicks. I don't know. I don't know what his thing is. He just stays there sometimes. It is kind of weird. I like that the script also has a edge to it. It's definitely PG-13. I mean, you got Poppy saying, "Welcome to Malibu, biatch," like early on in the movie. She calls other people biatches. There's a hoo-ha joke. There's definitely an edge here. Like, this is not totally for kids. So I think for some of the intended audience, I think that might have been kind of a turnoff. I think some parents probably would have been kind of taken aback by this movie. This is definitely not a for kids kind of film, but I think it would still work for teenagers. And yeah, there's some nice girl bonding moments between the the group of misfits and outcasts that Poppy uh, becomes a part of. But yeah, there's just so many elements of this that are just so predictable and so cliche that it hurts. There's also some lines of dialogue that are really cringe and aren't funny. And that's also another aspect of the script that isn't that great. Like, it's not really that good of a script when it comes to comedy. There's a few laughs, but there's a lot of moments where you're going to get more groans than you are going to get a guffaw or a chuckle. The sports subplot, other than it being lacrosse, which is a different sport than you normally see in these kind of films, it's the exact same template, just copied and pasted. Oh, they haven't made it to the championship in 30 years. All of a sudden, coincidentally, this new girl is going to inspire the team and they're going to make a run to the championship. And of course, they're not going to lose. They're going to win. Of course they are. Like, they're going to win. And of course, her winning the title is also there to represent her winning her dad over because her dad is there watching and he's so proud of her. But the ending of the film, I felt really didn't land. I felt it was kind of flat. You had a good build up to it with the resolution of the expulsion plot line that ultimately led to Harriet being the one that gets the hammer thrown down, and she's the one that gets thrown out because she is revealed to be the one that not only orchestrated the whole email thing that caused a fallout between Poppy and her friends, but she also was the one that started the fire. Because there's a fire that happens near the end of the movie, and that provides an opportunity for Poppy to go in and save one of her friends from the fire, because she was hiding in a refrigerator or something along those lines, or a pantry or something. So she's hiding in there from the fire, and Poppy knows that she likes to hide in there, or she likes to go there because she likes to get some ice cream. So she goes and saves her friend, Slippy. I think that's her name. And it's there to show her group of friends that maybe she's not all that bad, despite what they think, because of the emails that were given to them that were supposedly written by her that she was sending to her supposed friend back in Malibu. Speaking of that supposed friend, I like that aspect of the script too, that there was this friend of hers that was just using her in Malibu who never really was her friend and just was friends with her for free shoes and other stuff, and her boyfriend who she stole from her, but then she got a better guy in the end anyway, and Freddie, so it wasn't really much of a loss. But I like that too. You don't always see that in these kind of films, these fake friends. It really does create a nice contrast when it comes to the friendship that she builds with the girls at the school in comparison to her friend back home in Malibu. And yeah, the stuff involving the trial where Poppy's put on trial and is up to be expelled because she's the one that's essentially taking the blame for the fire, because she did light a fire, but she thought she put it out. Because she has this lighter and she uses it sometimes to kind of get out some frustrations. And this time it went too far and she actually lit a curtain on fire, and she thought she put it out, but then this whole fire starts in that room, and then she takes responsibility for it, winds up on trial, but the evil queen bee Harriet, she's the one that ultimately reveals that she did it, so she's the one that gets the comeuppance in the end and gets suspended. And it is a bit of a crowd pleaser because that character was a total biatch. But the ending, it's all tied into the lacrosse game. And I don't know, I just didn't really feel as invested in that whole thing, that whole aspect of the film. Like, that didn't really feel like it mattered. Like the trial and Poppy getting back with her friends and getting the guy, like, that all felt like it was way more valuable than the lacrosse game. Honestly, Poppy just finishing the school and graduating, I think that's what the ending should have been. I don't really care about the lacrosse game. Like, whatever. Like, have a bit with it. Maybe they win, maybe they don't. Don't make that the focus of the entire ending of the movie. It just doesn't feel like it's earned, because the lacrosse stuff doesn't even come into play until like halfway through the film. And it's a good bonding moment for Poppy and the other girls, but I just don't think it goes anywhere beyond that. And it just doesn't earn this, like, oh, it's this big grand moment where she wins the game and she also wins her dad over. And I'm like, no, I would rather see her actually graduate. Because you never see her actually graduate from the school. So it just seems like the school, at the end of the day, like, what did she really ever do there other than just hang out with these kids? Befriend this group of friends, go and buy some dresses somewhere and have a fashion show at this vintage dress shop and go to the dance, get pranked by Harriet. Like, there's like 1 or 2 scenes maybe where they're like going to a French class or something, but that's it. Like, we don't even know for sure what these girls are actually being taught or what they're doing there. A lot of it's just more on other stuff that really doesn't have anything to do with the school itself. So it just makes it seem like the education is just secondary and doesn't really mean anything. And I don't really think that that's a good message to send, especially to the young audience that this was trying to appeal to. So yeah, I would have had a more understated ending. Like, who cares about the lacrosse game? We already had enough of those scenes and they were okay. And it's not like they were like the highlight of the story and the script. Like, have another moment with Poppy exceeding expectations and graduating with honors and being there with her friends and her friends celebrating her achievement and Poppy celebrating their achievement because they all graduated together, and then have the dad be there and so on. I get also what they were trying to do, because they have this reveal that her mother went to Abbey Mount and her mother was the one that was involved with the lacrosse team the last time they were successful, but that was not a effective twist because you saw it coming a mile away because the writer did a bad job covering it up. And also, I don't know, like, oh, you won a lacrosse game, but how is that really something that will make your mother really, really proud of you for doing? Like, did you graduate? Oh, you won the lacrosse game. Good, cool. Won the lacrosse championship. Did you graduate from the school? Because you never get that. You never see that. They win the lacrosse game. She hugs her dad. They have that moment with one another where the dad is proud of his daughter now. And then you cut to the end credits, and it seems like she's back to her old habits. She's back in Malibu, just tanning in the pool, but this time with her other friends from the UK. She does a trust jump with them over the cliff into the water, which is it's a nice little bonding moment for the friends, but and of course she breaks up with the friend and her boyfriend who cheated on her. But okay, she's still tanning by the pool in this $1 million pool. Doesn't really seem like she's doing anything other than just partying again. Like, she's not taking it seriously. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, it seems like there was just something missing from the script. It has its heart in the right place at moments. It's got this Mean Girls in the UK kind of vibe that at times is admittedly charming and kind of fun to watch. There are some lines that are funny. There are a lot of lines, though, that aren't. And the drama is just, typical sort of stuff. And the ending just doesn't land. So it's just one of those scripts where, yeah, it's okay. It's all right, but yeah, it definitely could have been better. And I understand why some critics were not that impressed with the screenplay, but I don't think it was so bad that she would never write again. Like, it's not that offensive of a screenplay. The cast, I think for the most part, is good. Like, Emma Roberts as Poppy, I think it's one of her better roles. She really does nail the bratty rich teen persona. Like, she turns the bitch level to 11, and despite how obnoxious that portrayal of Poppy is, it is kind of entertaining because of just how all in and just how far Emma goes with it for PG-13. I mean, there's even a point where she flips somebody off. Like, she definitely is a wild child. But I liked when she settled down too. I liked when she was less wild, when she was more tame, so to speak. It showed a certain nuance to her character and to the performance, and I thought it was a pretty good performance overall. Like, I thought for the kind of film that it is, she showed enough layers. She was charismatic as well as beautiful, and just seemed like she was having fun with it, and that definitely did help the film, made it kind of entertaining at times because she was having fun with it and the rest of the cast was having a good time. I mean, Kimberley Nixon, Juno Temple, Linzey Cocker, Sophie Wu, all of them just really had a good rapport with Emma Roberts, and the gang together, they legitimately worked well. It was almost like they weren't acting, like they really were friends. That came across as something that felt very realistic. Alex Pettyfer as Freddy. He's just there to be the hunky guy for girls to drool over, and I mean, for what he's asked to do, he's fine, but it's not much of a performance. He's basically a himbo. Like, I mean, let's be honest here. Like, what does he do? Except hang out at the girls' school every now and then, go date Poppy, and look hot. Like, it's not like he really does much other than that. Aidan Quinn, paycheck role as the dad. Like, total paycheck role. Like, I didn't even know it was Aidan Quinn until I looked up the credits. I'm like, oh, that was Aidan Quinn? Wow. Must have needed the money to pay the rent. Because this is definitely not a performance that'll go down as one of his best. Also, he's barely in the movie, so there's not much to say about that. Georgia King as Harriet, the Queen Bee of Abbey Mount. I thought she was great for what she was asked to be. She was supposed to be this just queen bitch of Abbey Mount, and she really did relish every opportunity and played a very effective, risible I don't think it's risible, it's risible. Effective, risible, unlikable character that you wanted to see lose. And you also have some other actors and actresses. Like you have Nick Frost, who plays a hairdresser, very flamboyant hairdresser, and a kind of surprising cameo. You've got Sophie Wu. I mentioned her already. She was Kiki, Poppy's roommate. But you have Shelby Young, who plays Ruby, Poppy's best friend from Malibu. You got Shirley Henderson, who plays Matron. And Shirley Henderson was in Harry Potter as Moaning Myrtle. And there's actually a reference to Harry Potter in the film, which is pretty funny. Because it cuts like right to a scene with Shirley Henderson as Matron. So they knew what they were doing there. There's also, of all things, a reference to Buck Rogers, which I did not see coming, which cracked me up. And you also have Natasha Richardson in her final film role. I don't think it's going to go down as one of her best performances, but it's a good one. It's good for what she was asked to do here as the headmistress. You bought that she played a headmistress that really cared about her girls and cared about Poppy and was very disappointed in Poppy not fitting in right away and being rebellious and not following the rules and just wants the best for her. There are better films to go out on, but there are also worse ones because sadly, pretty soon after this, she passed away. But it's not like she went out with a bad performance. It was a good performance for what she was asked to do. Now, the film also features some cinematography by Chris Seeger as well as some editing by Simon Cozens. It's there. It's fine for this kind of movie. I think it matches the peppy vibe of the film pretty well. The music by Michael Price is another thing that's just, it's not priceless, but it's not completely worthless either. Like, it helps move some scenes along, adds a few little touches here and there, or extra bits of emphasis to certain scenes. The soundtrack, I would say, probably does more with the songs that they pick than the score, but everything together combined is still a adequate enough package when it comes to the music. At best, it's a time waster. At worst, it's kind of below average and forgettable. But it's just one of those movies that I do ultimately kind of like the vibe. Like, and I can totally see why some people like this film for that reason alone. There are better ways to spend your time, but there are also way worse ways. Like with Mean Girls 2. But anyway, I don't know what else to say about Wild Child, except thanks for watching my review. And until next time, I'll see you later. See ya.